Welcome to Work It, Live It, Own It, a show that explores how to upgrade your lifestyle through life lessons, real estate, and entrepreneurship. Here's your hostess, Sacola Lehr. Finding joy amidst chaos. Is it even possible to thrive and not just survive during the most turbulent of times? How can we maintain our happiness when chaos surrounds us? So today, we have an incredible guest. Annie Harmon, who is the CEO of Empower Life Changes, is joining us today. And she's dedicated to helping women rediscover their purpose, set clear goals, regain confidence, and find joy amidst life's chaos. Annie's Unleash Your Inner Power methodology transforms thought patterns, enhancing self-assurance and self-worth. So join us as we explore some questions today that's going to help discover some powerful insights on how to embrace joy, even in the midst of life's storms. Thank you so much, Annie, for joining us today and Work It, Live It, Own It. I'm so happy to have you on today.
Thank you, Sacola. I'm so happy to be here. This is a fantastic opportunity, and I look forward to our conversation.
Awesome. Thank you. So, Annie, give us a little bit of background about yourself. What led you to want to even start your journey to empower other women to unleash their inner power?
My journey started 30 years ago when I was brought up having career first as my priority. My family was very driven, saying you have to conform to social norms, you have to be a mother, a wife, and still excel in your career. And I felt overloaded with the requirements of social norms. And I broke free from that about 18 years ago, thinking that I had found my calling, and that was Empower Life Changes. And through that, I've helped women, 87 women altogether so far, find their calling and purpose.
Wow, that's amazing. 87 women, you have impacted a change. And you also found the inner strength to break
Yes, I
through.
did.
Okay. So I'm hearing immense strength and fortitude coming from you, and you're being able to pass that on to other women. So how do you define joy? I mean, we have the Webster's and Merriam-Webster's dictionary definition of joy, but how do you personally define joy, and why is it important to seek it amidst life's chaos?
Joy to me is a profound and genuine sense of happiness and contentment that comes from aligning one's true purpose with living in harmony with one's values and passions. It's a feeling of inner fulfillment and peace that transcends external circumstances. In the midst of chaos, one can find joy, which is vital in serving as an anchor and reminding us what truly matters, and helps us navigate challenges with resilience and fuels our motivation to pursue our goals and dreams.
I like that because I remember Matthew McConaughey until I heard him speak about happiness and joy, because happiness is this like ethereal feeling of things that we want to have. But it's not the actual tangible thing. It's actually us finding joy in our everyday life. That is the fulfilling part that actually fuels us to keep moving ahead. That can lead us to the journey of happiness, but finding joy in our lives, it could be something small. It could be in taking advantage of the seasons of the year, right? If you enjoy creation or you enjoy the life, leaves changing, just driving through the country, that can bring joy. And I think sometimes people don't actually take the time to seek and appreciate those joyful moments and savor them, that actually can bring you relaxation and calm in a chaotic period. So I love how you touched on that, because it is true. It is very fulfilling to have it, even when it's not the sunniest or brightest of days or periods in your life. And can you share with us a personal experience of when you found joy in particularly a chaotic or even challenging situation, Annie?
Yes, I can, Sacola. I've helped, as I said, 87 women find their independence and their purpose. And I have one client in particular, her name's Nancy, and she had difficulty with having an identity, a personal identity. She was able to keep commitments with other people, but she couldn't keep commitments to herself. And through our work, she lost 70 pounds and regained her ability to keep commitments to herself and found her identity.
That is a phenomenal story, because I think with women in general, we tend to show up for everyone else. We will cry, we will suffer in silence behind closed doors, but we still show up, and it appears like we've got this superpower that we have, and this formidable forthright personality that even though I may be busy, I'm going to stop doing what I need to do for family, for friends. But when it's time for us to make a commitment to ourselves, to take care of ourselves, to nurture ourselves, we put ourselves on the back burner. Not all women. I think most women tend to do that.
Hmm.
And so when someone asks me what is the order, I know my order, and I'm pretty high up there. Before my faith is most important to me, but next is myself, because if I don't take care of myself, I can't show up for myself. I can't show up for other people. So that's wonderful. I'm glad that she received wonderful results from that. But now let's shift over a little bit, because a lot of people are saying, okay, this sounds great, finding joy, but let's get down into some tangible, practical strategies or habits that people can cultivate to discover moments of joy during tumultuous times. So, Annie, can you share with us some practical strategies or habits that we can take away today to start having joy?
Yes, I have four different strategies. One is practicing gratitude, where you reflect daily on gratitudes, writing down five different gratitudes for the day. The second is helping others in acts of kindness. And volunteering can bring joy not only to yourself but to others. And it's very helpful in this day and age to have that social connection, and then to practice self compassion. If you don't have compassion for yourself, you can't have compassion for others. And then finally, journaling, keeping a journal and actually savoring your daily gratitudes by expanding upon them and going through your five senses and really enjoying the things that happen on a daily basis, the small things and the large things, which gets back to what Matthew McConaughey was saying in Green Lights, to savor your day.
Yes, absolutely. And I think even the author, and I can't think of her name now, you probably can help me out, but it was like Eat, Pray, Love.
Oh, right.
And the author of that book, which was her book was inspired to do the movie starring Julia Roberts. For her, she said something years ago that really touched my heart. And it was to seek adventure every single day. And what that could look like It could be number 6, right? Seek adventure every single day. It could be a new way to work. It could be a less stressful way to work. If you get up a little bit earlier, and instead of getting on the highway or the interstate all the time, if you have the flexibility in your schedule to take a country drive, take a route that you've never taken before, go into a store or a shop that you've never been into before. Take the time to meet new people or the store owners, the shop owners. For me, I like going to the farmers markets. I like talking to the farmers and finding out about how they grow their produce. If it's corn, when was it picked? If it was picked that morning, I'm buying some, because you know the best tasting corn is right when it's been plucked off the stalks. So just meeting new people, finding out what they're really passionate about. Sometimes their energy can uplift you and bring your energy. And I love how you even mention gratitude. I've talked about this before in a previous episode, and I'm going to say it here again, is that every night I try to, even in the most days that I could say a terrible day, where I could feel deflated. And I felt like that a couple of weeks ago. I felt absolutely deflated. But then before I laid my head down at night, I said 4 things that I'm grateful for. And in those 4 things, you mentioned 5, but in those 4 things for me, I realized my day and my life is not, it wasn't bad. And finding appreciation in that. You also mentioned acts of kindness, random acts of kindness. When they say there's more happiness in giving than there is in receiving, that is so true. But then you said compassion. That's something I think I struggle with, is being self-compassion, having self-compassion for myself. So can you delve into that just a little bit more of what that looks like? Because some people think, oh, it's just getting my nails done or getting my hair done. But what do you mean when you say being compassionate? Can you give us an example?
I mean that you actually reflect on your own abilities with compassion so that you give yourself a break if you've done something that you aren't so happy with or you think you could have done better. You actually give yourself a break and say, well, next time I'll do it like this. And rehearse the positives of the situation, not the negatives, so that the next time you enter that situation, you become more adept and self compassionate and doing it the way you want to do it. You know, like blowing up at the kids, which is easy to do in some situations, especially at the end of the day. And thinking of the best way to handle that in the future can actually help you with self compassion
Hmm,
and forgiving yourself for little mistakes or mistakes along the way in life.
true. Thank you for sharing that with us, because I think a lot of times, even for me, recovering perfectionist, you want things to be perfect. You want things to be right, but nothing on this earth is perfect. So, taking things or events that have happened, things that we may have said and done, as a learning experience for us to do better. And even if it's 1% better than the day before, I think that's the part of where we're showing growth and self improvement. So thank you for breaking that down a little bit more when it comes to having self compassion, because we can tend to beat ourselves up. We are our worst critics. Our brains tend to go, see, look at you. You shouldn't have done that. And sometimes we got to train our brains and fight back and be like, oh, you silly little brain. Yes, I made a mistake. I screwed up. Yes, I'm imperfect. But you know what? I learned this, and this is what we learned, and this is what we're going to strive to do better on the next time. So,
Yes, and moving from the head or your mind to your heart,
mm,
letting your heart shine through and showing yourself compassion.
love it. Absolutely love it. So now we live in a world. that is full of distractions and noise. What can one do or create? How can we create a space for inner peace so that joy can thrive in our lives?
Well, I have some strategies that I think can help. One is having a mindful routine in the morning, such as meditation, deep breathing, or simply a few moments of quiet reflection. Setting the positive tone can really help you start your day on the right foot. And designating a nice, calm place in your house where you have uh, a comfy chair or a place where you can get away and just reflect on life is very helpful. And then setting boundaries around technology is another way because we, as you said, we live in a technology rich environment and um, trying to turn your brain off at the end of the day requires turning your technology off. Otherwise, you're constantly um, checking for emails and checking for messages on your phone. And we need to have that turned off at least an hour before bedtime so that our brains can calm down.
Mm. I try that. I have a timer where my phone will go into sleep mode. And even I find myself, and I'm guilty of picking up that phone because it's out of habit and then checking stuff. And I find because I've set that boundary for myself, I can't get on to social media like I normally do because it limits my access. I've even heard some families, they will cut the Wi Fi off in the household at a certain time. Now, does that prevent them from using data? No. Or they will put all the devices into one drawer or a cabinet, lock it up, and then in the morning, they'll unlock the cabinet and get those devices out. So, whatever may work for you, some of us may need more self discipline than others. But yes, taking that time, whether it's that bubble bath, that shower, because a lot of times we get our best thoughts when we're quiet and we're not just constantly multitasking and doing things, because multitasking is highly overrated. I know it was one time something praised or a great job asset, but sometimes it's overrated, especially in this world right now. You actually touched on gratitude a little bit earlier, and I want to kind of delve into this a little bit deeper with you, Annie. What role do you think gratitude plays in finding joy? And how can individuals actually incorporate this? I know you mentioned saying 5 things a day, but can you just delve into it and give us an example of how they can incorporate gratitude into their daily lives?
Okay. Um, One, they can shift their focus. Instead of focusing on the negative, they can build gratitude by shifting their focus to something positive and appreciate the situation for what it can help them become and do. And then um, a good example of that was um, just taking a note and putting it on the mirror for your spouse, giving them a gratitude of the day, saying, I really appreciate you. I love you so much, can really promote gratitude within your relationships. And even to your kids, you can do that. Write in their lunchbox a little note saying, you are strong, or you are uh, the biggest part of my life.
I like that. I like that. I Another thing that I think is so important is the fact that you said writing those little love notes, whether it's a love note to yourself, a love note to your spouse, your kids, friends. There's a friend that I still write letters to, actually send it in snail mail. Why? Because when I get a letter in the mail, what do we normally receive in the mail? Bills, right? Solicitations. But if someone has taken the time to write a heartfelt note or a letter or send a card, that lights my world up. And so you never know whose world you may light up by doing it. And then actually just the thought process of actually writing that note because you care. That's the other part you were talking about, Annie, where you're doing something, a random act of kindness for someone. And I think that is so important. If we sometimes we just need to hold on to some of the basics of what we had in life that brought a community together and built a sense of community and togetherness, I think is so important. And that kind of leads me to my next question with you is, have you seen, I've seen personally, but have you seen how individuals or communities have managed to maintain a sense of joy and togetherness during global crisis or even upheavals?
Well, I think the access to the internet has really helped us stay connected. Um, Today, it seems like families are living across the nation or even around the world and having strong social bonds where they can uh, meet up via Zoom or some other mechanism, FaceTime, really helps the family unit stay strong. And then additionally, if they have strong support networks, um, because of COVID, a lot of people have had to turn to online support so that they can stay um, close, maintaining vital relationships and togetherness. And again, acts of kindness comes into this as well, where um, you can create an expression and embrace nature to continue with a sense of community, resilience, and joy.
And yes, I think the pandemic has really started to shift. And I hope we don't shift back to that because I think a lot of people realized, even when they were living across the country, they realized, I miss my family. I want to be closer to my family. So a lot of people moved to be closer back to their families. Another thing is where people who weren't tech savvy, so to speak, learned to use various different forms of technology to stay in touch, to stay connected with their family members and loved ones and friends, whether it was having a virtual party or doing virtual games on certain online platforms. So you didn't feel so isolated and alone. Again, another big card company had doing a promo of free cards to send out cards to loved ones to bring joy in their lives. Just getting back to the roots of what actually builds communities, and that is joy. That is the random acts of kindness. That is the gratitude. And I
And
think if we all treated one another with fellow feeling and wanted to treat other people the way we want to be treated, I think we can seek that joy every single day. For me, I have to have that one belly aching laugh a day, whether it does come from social media or it comes from someone who said something funny. But you can find joy, even in the most turbulent of times. And so, Annie, I want to thank you so much because you touched on the things we know it. I think everybody knows these things, but implementing them and how it can look in your everyday life is important. And guys, y'all have to excuse my voice today. I am fighting a cold, so please excuse me. But I I just want to thank you, Annie, for touching on these things. And guys, if you want to learn more about Annie and how she's helped 87 women become empowered in their own lives, don't hesitate to reach out to her. All of her information is going to be in the show notes. Annie, is there anything that we didn't touch on today that you want to share and highlight with the Work It, Live It, Own It audience today?
I am offering a free discovery session to anyone that reaches out to me. I'll offer it to the first 5 callers.
Okay. All right. And so in that discovery session, what are you helping them to get clear on?
Creating a roadmap of how they can improve their lives and learn, find their purpose, and regain self confidence.
Okay. Good. Because we all need
Right?
a shot and boost of confidence, right? Self
Yes,
confidence.
we do. And
Yes.
thank you
Yes.
so much, Sacola, for having me on.
Oh, no. No. Thank you. Thank you for wanting to sit down and talk to our community. So now that we've done this, is there anything, Annie, as a rapid fire question, is there anything in life that you wish you could do that you have not already done yet?
I would like to go skydiving, but I'm scared to death of falling. But that would be fun to find some group and do a group skydiving. That's my adventure from on my bucket list.
Oh, okay. I have some things on my bucket list that I want to do too.
Yeah,
Excellent. Excellent. Well, one day you might get over your fear and skydive. Who knows? I've seen
right.
people in their 80s do it. More power
Yes,
to them.
right, right.
More power to them. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in to this week's episode of Work It, Live It, Own It. If you have any questions for me or for Annie, please don't hesitate to head over to workitliveitownit.com. Leave us a voice memo. All of Annie's information is going to be in our show notes. Stay tuned for that as well. And most importantly, don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter. We have a newsletter coming out once a month, and you can sign up for that at workitliveitownit.com. If you found this information relevant, relatable, where you want to share it with your tribe, your community, and your friends, please don't hesitate to share this, download this, and most importantly, start taking the steps and strategies that Annie has suggested today. Well, that wraps it up. Guys, love you. See you next time. And don't forget to work it, live it, own it in your everyday lives. Take care.
Okay.